Phetchaburi River Crocodile. Welcome to Thai Local Tales, the podcast that takes you on a journey through Thailand's legends, folklore, and the lesser-known stories of its history. I'm Captain Piroj, your guide on this adventure. So sit back, relax, and let's begin today's story. Miss Saree is from Phetchaburi, more specifically from Ban Lat District in the province of Phetchaburi. There's a river here called the Phetchaburi River. People in this district and surrounding areas have benefited from it for a long time, using it for washing clothes, transportation, and during the rainy season, there are annual boat races. Furthermore, during the dry season, it becomes a place for exercise for the children and grandchildren of Ban Lat. The reason the Phetchaburi River becomes a place for exercise is that every year during the dry season, the water level is very low. So much so that a wide and long sandbar forms in the middle of the river, allowing people to wade across from the sides to play sports such as football, badminton, or other games, providing fun for children and youth. Throughout history, the villagers of Ban Lat, who live along the Phetchaburi River, have cultivated almost every kind of fruit tree in their orchards. These include jackfruit, custard apple, rambutan, sapodilla, starfruit, lychee, kaffir lime, coconut, and pomelo, as well as local herbs. This keeps the area moist and lush, with greenery nourished by the Phetchaburi River. Above all else, the river is a vital natural resource, providing fish and aquatic life for the villagers to earn a living for generations. Most people in Ban Lat set their fishing lines in the evening and retrieve them in the early morning. They catch various fish, including catfish, snakehead, tilapia, and many others, depending on what kind of bait is used. The Phetchaburi River is much clearer than other areas, with a sandy bottom making the fish clearly visible. During the dry season, the winding course of the river creates strong currents and whirlpools in some sections. These whirlpool areas are usually teeming with fish and also serve as breeding grounds for the fish. There is a group of people whom I'd describe as lazy and unscrupulous, who use dynamite, the kind that explodes underwater, to kill the fish in the whirlpools without bothering to work hard like the villagers. Furthermore, in this village there is a Mr. Dam, who is a despicable individual who has never contributed anything useful to the villagers except for petty theft and secretly planting bombs. It's well known that whenever a loud bang is heard, it means Mr. Dam is indiscriminately destroying aquatic life. Many times, the villagers, including Saree, saw fish and other forms of aquatic life floating downstream after such explosions. The fish that floated were all so small that even a small mesh net couldn't catch them. This caused them to feel great pity. Someone had reported it to the village headman and the sub-district chief, but to no avail, because Mr. Dam and his accomplices always knew the whereabouts of the villagers before they could catch them in the act. So, at most, the villagers could only curse them in their heart. One day, during the dry season, the river in the middle dried up, but the sides remained a large stream. Mr. Dam and two accomplices secretly went upstream and planted some dynamite in a deep whirlpool. When the explosion sounded early in the morning, Saree immediately realized that Mr. Dam and his accomplices were again destroying living beings. She cursed them. May they all make a mistake and die like those little fish. Amen. That day, she walked across the bridge, intending to go and buy some groceries. When she got off the bridge, she saw a large group of people gathered, talking amongst themselves. Cow, a boy a bit over 10 years old, was one of those who went to watch Mr. Dam blast the fish with explosives this morning. He told Saree that when they blasted the fish this morning, Mr. Dam, Mr. Yo, and Mr. Kiat were the ones involved. The spot where they blasted the fish is called Kung Tawan, Kung meaning curve or a bend in the river, and Tawan being the name of the household which sits at this bend in the river. So for this reason, this bend in the river is called Kung Tawan. Now, when this group set the explosives, everyone quickly dived down to scoop up the fish, both small and large, whatever they could catch. There were still piles of fish in front of the Tawan's home along the riverbank. Cow was the one describing all of this. So I asked Cow what happened next. Well, after the explosion was over, everyone was diving underwater to search for a while. Then Mr. Yo surfaced, screaming loudly. There was a certain auntie who explained that when Mr. Joe surfaced, one of his legs was missing, and he was screaming incoherently. Then Dam surfaced as well, and quickly swam downstream. Swimming downstream in this area is popular with children and teenagers because the water flows strongly, yet is clean, making it easy to see obstacles and avoid colliding with anything. As a rule, the locals are all quite familiar with the different sections of the river which run through the village. Now, while Dam was hastily swimming and diving in the water going downstream, down below, he made a mistake and, not being careful, his head and face hit a submerged log with great force. There was a monk who was helping at the scene who described that there was a piece of wood the thickness of one's forearm embedded in one of his eye sockets, and his face was covered in blood. "Hey! Saree!" he cried, his face a pitiful, agonizing expression. He was lucky since Mr. Gay just came back from delivering banana leaves to the market, so they had put Mr. Dam in the back of his cart and took him to the hospital. We weren't sure if he was going to die before reaching the hospital. At that time, Mr. Dam's wife had just joined him. Saree asked her, what was it that those guys were trying to escape from in the water? His wife, Mrs. Kyo, quickly replied, "It was a crocodile, a crocodile." They saw a crocodile? Yes, a real crocodile. Aunt Kyo continued. A few days ago, someone said there was a crocodile in the northern part of the village. The people around there hunted it, but nobody paid attention and didn't think it would run away from that group of people and come down to Kung Tawan. That was all, until Mr. Dam's gang went to blast it with explosives, hoping to catch fish to sell. These explosives weren't strong enough to kill the crocodile. I see. It must have been angry or desperate that it resorted to violence. The monk asked, "Oh, and what about Kiat? Didn't he go with them?" "Well, that's what they said," replied Dam. "But we don't know if he really went or not, because both Dam and Joe went to the hospital. 2 days later, Kiat's body was found floating and wedged against a bridge pillar below. There was a severe laceration on his chest, likely from a crocodile bite. 15 days later, Yo was discharged from the hospital and returned home, disabled with a severed leg, unable to claim compensation from anyone. About a month after the incident, the hospital allowed them to return home, but his condition was no different from that of a cripple. His condition possibly even more severe than Mr. Yo's, as he was blind. One of Mr. Dam's eyes was destroyed when his face hit an underwater stump. While his other eye remained, it had been completely impaled by splinters of wood. Furthermore, he was disoriented and in a stupor. Mr. Dam's face was still covered in stitches and scars. He was blind and almost unable to care for himself. Furthermore, shortly after Mr. Dam returned from the hospital, his wife Mrs. Aid ran away, presumably to live with her parents in the Cha district. After that, Mr. Dam had really become a cripple, unable to care for himself because he couldn't see and some parts of his brain weren't functioning properly. The villagers would feel sorry for him and often gave him food to eat. Eventually, Mr. Dam became a beggar in the market area, sleeping in the shelter of a bus stop. As for Mr. John, his relatives took him to another area, so no one heard from him again. The story that Miss Saree shared is a true story that happened about 10 years ago. She hopes that anyone who has ever considered doing something like this will give up and pursue honest livelihoods as other people do. Because the karmic consequences of what these three men did to the small fish and other creatures in the Phetchaburi River are immeasurable, so that now they are now facing a fate that few others should have to experience. Thank you for listening to Thai Local Tales. I'm Captain Piroj. Until our next journey together, take care, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next episode.